Green.
Okay. It's 7 o'clock, so Lori's asked me to chair this meeting, so I'll call it to order and we can have a roll call. Lori DiDonato,
I'm here.
Gillian Budine,
Here.
and I'm Dan, I'm here. And welcome everyone. I think I've got all your names in order. Welcome everybody to coming. Our first order of business is discussing the minutes, I believe, for May 18th and May 25th.
My cell phone?
Did we have any corrections or additions to those minutes?
You only have the minutes for May 18th, so.
I'm gonna turn
Yeah,
your.
and I actually didn't have a chance to review those. Is it possible to do it at the next meeting? I'm sorry.
Yeah, we can kick it down the road. That's my abbreviation, KDR. Kicking it down the road till the next meeting for both the 18th and the 25th. So we actually have Nick, Rossi, Karen, and Michael scheduled for 7:15. So maybe we'll take a few minor agenda items and deal with them in the meantime. Doug's not here for the computer hardware. Is the contract signing for the Kentfield Road Bridge? That's pretty simple, right? I don't think.
I think Phil said he might show up. Or he was planning to show up. He said he didn't
All
care
right,
what time.
okay.
So
Pest control for town buildings. We had a semi-plan that the custodian would set traps and check them. Any thoughts from anyone about, and we also had a quote from a pest control company that does it by poisoning. And any thoughts on that from people?
I'm good with the traps, and I think it's cheaper, obviously, and we don't like the poison. The only other thought I had was that there seem to be other insect issues, and Nina Keller has offered, I believe, to help us with that too. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth investigating that and seeing exactly what she wants to do and how.
Gillian?
Yep. I think that's fine. I think we should just check back in maybe in a couple months to see what the status is and see if things have improved.
Yeah, good.
And Glenn, will you talk with Eric and let him know that we're going to go that direction in terms of traps?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he'll probably just need to know how often and where to check.
Yeah, do you all have a schedule that you'd like him to follow?
Well, how often does he come to Wendell and deal with the buildings?
Yeah, basically every week he's in the buildings at least once a week. If you want him to check more often, he's happy to do that, but it would increase his hours somewhat. So we could try it with him just checking when he's in the buildings, and it seems like it's needed more frequently. We could bump it up.
Well, I would be in favor of bumping it up a little and having him check the traps twice a week, because that might be more likely to produce an outcome where there's no smelling animals in the room, and pay him the few extra dollars that would cost.
Okay with that.
And I think he's not working the hours that we have budgeted. I think he's working less than that anyhow, so we have a little wiggle room.
Great.
Since COVID, he's been not needing to have as many hours.
Right. Okay, that sounds good to everybody, that we'll ask him to check twice a week and see how the traps work. Okay.
It's possible to increase the appropriation for that at the town meeting if you need to, because of the little padding we put in there.
Sure.
So it could, if someone in the select board wants to make an amendment, you could take a look and see what it is, and if you think we need to increase that, we can do so.
Okay, thanks, Doug.
Yep.
So now that Doug's here, and we have a few minutes before we need to get on to the conservation easement. Doug, can we talk about the computer hardware at this point?
Sure. There was just it turned out to be a small amendment of, do you remember what it was, Gillian? I've got it here, but I could tell you.
I
Hang
think it
on.
was less than $300.
Yes, it was less than 300. It's 200 and something. I can tell you in just a minute the actual number. With a little luck here. Thought I had it. Oh, maybe I do. Yeah, $256.24. Yes.
Just to review, Doug, what is this package getting us?
All the computers that we, have expressed a desire to obtain at this point in time. I have the list somewhere, but it's all the town officers, 3 public computers at the library. I believe 2 office computers at the library. All of the usual suspects and all in one for the tax collector's assistant, which is why she wanted a slightly more powerful computer. It's only a little bit more money, so we figured we could do it.
And the total budget at this point for
The total is 18,000 and some change. Let me talk about what that is. That's in a different place. Sorry about that.
This was for
That's
the wiping the data from the old computers, is that right?
It
Or
all,
what was that?
yes, it includes the transfer of the data. Al and I are willing to wipe the data off them if that's what we need to do. And some would be, the advice from Entree was, if the computer still has Windows 10 on it, that it's probably worth getting it to someone else to use. If it's older than that, it may not be worth it. So we can dispose of the ones that we don't want because there's an electronics dump at the Rats. So I'd have to look at the contract that we signed. Here it is. So the total was 18,607. So if we add 256 to that, that's what the number is now.
Okay, great. Very exciting. Thanks for doing it.
Yep. We also
Is that
have
256, Doug?
256 in some sense. So actually, if you took 18,607 and you add 257 to that, that would be enough to cover it.
Got it. Mhm.
And what happened was we removed one computer off of the original quote and are replacing it with a different one. And that's where the $256 increase is.
Yep.
So there is a separate contract for that one computer. Should we print that out and sign it just like we did the other one?
Yes, yes.
But do you want me to do the same thing that we did last time where I printed out?
Sure,
and leave it
yeah,
for
that would
Doug?
be fine. That'd be fine. I don't think there's any big hurry because he's already taken the verbal notice that it's probably fine and put the orders in. So yes, but that'd be fine if you can print it and sign it. And I would
Lori and Dean, are
do
you
the
okay with
same.
that? Yes.
Me too.
All right, I'll leave it at the office for you, Doug.
Okay, I'll be there tomorrow night if you get there, you happen to be there before that, but no,
Okay.
like I say.
Okay, well, thanks for that, Doug.
There's also things to discuss, not in its entirety right now because it's too complicated, but to discuss the IT proposal that we got from Entree, and I've sent that proposal and some other notes to Jim and to Gillian and to Sean Fenn to review and to comment on. And I think when we get those comments back, and we will need to have a meeting dedicated to that, I think.
Okey doke. Well, I see Phil has showed up here. Maybe we can squeeze in the Kentfield Road Bridge at this point. Phil, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
And feel free to squeeze me right in there, Dan.
Yeah, you are squeezed in. So what's the story signing the contract?
Well, I don't actually have the signed contract from the contractor yet, but that's he's working on getting his performance bond and that kind of thing together. So I'll have that, I'm sure. Well, I'm assuming this week. And we have a couple of things going on that I just want to bring up. Well, to follow up with the contract signing, I would appreciate the board voting to sign the contract as soon as it's available. And then I can just let you know when it will be at the office, at either the end of this week or beginning of next week. As you know, the Kentfield Road Bridge was closed by the state after an engineering report deemed it unsafe. And I happened to meet with one of the residents of Kentfield Road who has a camp, and his whole family goes out there quite frequently during the summer. Well, another half mile past the bridge on Kentfield Road, the Costa family actually. And he thought that somebody put the barricades up because they wanted to slow traffic down. So he moved them all out of the way, and he and his family have been crossing the bridge all week.
No.
So I let him know that I could not give him the approval to use the bridge, and he's very industrious. And he went and searched out the other end of Bullard Road, which connects with Kentfield Road, which has been discontinued for some 25 years, I believe.
Mm.
And he managed to get up Bullard Road and down Bullard Road in his four-wheel drive vehicle to access his property. So bravo for him for his industriousness, but I'm concerned for town's liability here. One, we're going to close the bridge for a couple of months, and residents are using a discontinued road.
Mm.
So I don't know what obligation we have to provide them access. And the other side of it is, I'm not sure how in depth we want to get into trying upgrade Bullard Road so you can have better access, it being discontinued by town vote and all. So again, they're very positive, and I'm just impressed with how industrious this gentleman is. He's well on in years, but he went out and did some road work today, cut brushes and branches, and found a way to drive his vehicle in. So good for him. I plan to go down there with Rich and see if we can do something to make their traverse a bit safer and easier, even though it's a discontinued road. So we'll do the least we can, but I feel obliged to do something for them to give them access to their property. Other than that, everything's going along according to schedule. We've got the low bids came in at $448,000. They won the bid by about a half of a percent. It's very clear. There's like a $1,500 difference between them and the second bid.
Wow.
So I think the bids have been very positive. They've been, competitive. So that's good, but it's still higher than we anticipated. So we're about, I think about $90,000 overall over the $500,000 grant that we got from the state. But it does work with the numbers as far as our, all the money we've gotten from the different sources that we've been talking about. So, and Doug and I are working on making sure we're being, spending appropriately and using the right funds. So I think we're good to sign the contract. I think we're ready to go, and it has to be done. We have to fix that bridge.
Okay, well, thanks, Phil. I would personally agree that a good idea would be to go down there with Rich and see what minor changes can be made to improve the road, the discontinued road, make it easier for them. Beyond that, I'm not sure what we can do.
Well, yeah, I think it's important, if nothing else, there's emergency vehicles could get down if they had to.
Yeah.
You know, we've all got, several of us have four-wheel drive vehicles. I'm sure the fire department could get in if they had to, but it would be safer if we could get down and do a little bit of work on that road to open it up.
Sounds good to me.
No,
Select
I would-
board,
I would just like to suggest, Bill, that you keep track of the time and materials that you put in that, in case something comes along that to cover some of the rest of the cost on the Kenfield Bridge. You might be able to get that reimbursed for that. Outside chance, but
That would be good.
just keep track of it.
You know, a year ago, when we first looked at this project, we realized that access was going to be cut off to the backside of Kentfield Road, and we considered, you know, some of the funds potentially going towards upgrading Bullard Road to get into that. But it just kind of, you know, it went by the wayside, and I didn't have any ability to contact this family out there, but now I do have contact information. I've had a couple phone conversations. And like I say, I'm pleased they're so optimistic and helpful in this process. They're not upset with us, which is nice.
Good.
They showed up to go to their camp and they couldn't get across the bridge, so they moved there.
So my only thought, because Phil mentioned liability, I assume everything above the Kentfield Bridge is discontinued road
That's correct.
and that the town really doesn't have liability if people choose to use those roads.
That's correct. Although this family came to me wanting to know, in fact, it was officially closed, and I said yes, and they kept talking about how they could use it and they didn't feel like it was unsafe for them, but I said I could not give them permission. I said I appreciate they want access to their property, but I could not tell them it was okay to do so. And he's actually stopped using it, and that's when he went and opened up Bullard Road all by himself. So good for him.
Yeah.
But in the liability also, I don't know what it means as far as liability really, but the idea of us spending town money and repairing on a road that's actually been officially discontinued, that would be the Bullard Road connection. It feels right that we should do something to make it as safe as we can, because there are no other options for them to get in there.
Yeah.
Okay. Dan Leahy has his hand up if
thanks.
That's-
Dan,
Yeah, thanks. The only thing that I would mention, Phil, is that there's a lot of failed culverts on Bullard Road if you take, or Kentfield, if you go back that way. And whatever work the individual might be doing to improve the road, or the town does, you might wind up having impacts on wetlands and stream crossings there.
Definitely a constant consideration for the road crew. So we'll be aware of that. And Rich and I, like I say, we'll go down and do a better look at it tomorrow. I know that the Mr. DaCosta did mention that there's places where he's traversed with his four-wheel drive vehicle that in fact are washouts, but yes, there's water running through there in places, and it's a very wet area.
Right, so, you know, one of the things that you might be able to do is where the Costa is crossing on these, you know, wet areas or the stream crossings with the failed culverts, is you might be able to put some straw bale in there and just try to limit the erosion that would ultimately go into Whetstone Brook there.
Good thought. I think also I'll let the Conservation Commission know, now that you mentioned that, give them a heads up that we're looking at this, and they've been very cooperative and helpful in coming to visit sites and looking things over. And giving us a nod when it's appropriate and otherwise letting us know that we need to do something more. So that's a good thought. I'll get a hold of them and see if they'll take a walk with us.
Great. Thank you, Phil.
Yeah, likewise, thanks.
Yeah, good, Phil. Thanks for that. And so we'll wait to see an actual contract before we vote on it.
I have the contract and I can, it's not going to change in any degree from the contract that we just signed for the culvert. I only suggest that if you hold off waiting to vote for as much as 2 more weeks, they also have the same issue at Kenfield Road. They wanted to get the order in for the bridge as soon as they can, because there's at least a 10 to 12 week delay on that structure.
Right.
So however you want to do it, if you could vote to sign it when the contract is finally presented to you in its completed form, then I'll get that form to you. But I don't know how you would word that.
Well, yeah, since we're talking about trying to make a short timeline, I would move that we approve the contract as recommended by the Highway Department and sign it when it's presented to us.
I'll second.
I'm in favor.
And I will add, one of the reasons why it was a little late in getting the paperwork was the Department of Defense, Army Corps of Engineers. They've given us a verbal approval on the project, and for reasons I don't understand why, there was the actual final document hadn't made it to us. But even as of recently as this week, the person that's responsible for that has said it's in the works and it's coming. So we should have that this week as well. And that was kind of a holdup for a while, but that's all getting worked out, and I will not present a contract that's not completed and done properly for your signature until it's all set.
Okay, any further discussion about approving this contract? In that case, all in favor say aye.
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 And we have a unanimous vote to approve the contract, and we'll sign it as soon as you get it to us, Phil.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good job.
Thanks.
That's a lot of money.
Well, it is. We've between the two projects, we're close to $200,000 beyond our best estimates as recently as early this year. So it's good we're getting them done, because, you know, who knows, 6 months from now, they'd be even more expensive. So
Yeah. Yeah.
fortunately, the state's been generous.
Okay, so we voted to approve that contract. And now we're a little late getting to the conservation restriction, but I believe everyone's still here hanging on. So let's turn that over to the folks supporting the conservation restriction.
Dan and Lori, I'm going to recuse myself from this conversation.
Okey doke, that's understandable. Thank you for mentioning that at the beginning. And let's see, Karen, do you want to start with this, or Nick?
Yeah, sure. I'd be. Okay. So,
Maybe if others could mute, except for Nick.
sorry about that. Oh,
Still getting an echo on Nick. And now we're not hearing Nick.
Phil, can you mute?
I can mute, sure. I didn't realize I was included in that. I will start here.
okay. Can you hear me now? Okay.
That's better, thank you.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. The joys of working with Zoom when there's multiple computers in the room.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, thanks for making time for us tonight. So this is for a conservation restriction and an amendment to that conservation restriction that's associated with conservation development plan That plan was approved on March 1st of last year. And so basically, in a nutshell, this project is to facilitate, basically help facilitate the future development on this property, and then also help protect one of the more key connections in Wendell's conserved lands. I sent along a fact sheet, which you may have, that helps explain this, but just to kind of show you, give you context. So you can really see how the Swallow Rise property fits right into the landscape. So the green is Wendell State Forest, and then the blue is Whetstone Wood. And so you can see it's kind of like right in there connecting those two parcels, or two big blocks of land. The conservation restriction covers basically everything outside of the green outlines. Development would be concentrated within the two green areas. So it's a little, so the CR is, there's two pieces of it. So there's the conservation restriction that's required as part of the conservation development. And then we're also looking to complete an amendment to that conservation restriction at the same time. And that amendment is to reduce the number of dwelling units allowed between these two development areas. And I know that's a little confusing. We spent a lot of time coming to that arrangement. And the reason for that is because one is not supposed to pay for a required conservation restriction, and Mass Audubon and Swallow Rise have agreed to a purchase price for that amendment. So a purchase price to basically reduce the number of allowed units. And so in order to pay for that, we need to do an amendment as a separate document to make that basically all workable. And that was from the state of Massachusetts said that was the correct way to do it. So that's what we're doing. We've been at this since I think about 2018. It's been a long project, but a very good one. I think, the kind of crux of it is, conservation to help add to that benefit for the town of Wendell, and then also facilitating the development of further housing, and housing that is likely to be more affordable than what one might be able to find these days, which I know is front of mind for many people. Any questions on this that we could answer?
Yeah, I've got a question. Could you tell us how many acres are in the green areas?
Yes, it's about, I believe it's like 13 acres. 16. Michael knows
And
it.
how many house lots will it be?
13.
Potential.
So they're 1 acre apiece.
Give or take. Yeah, I think the way the conservation development bylaw works is they don't have to be a set acreage, but yeah, that would be the average.
Okay, thank you.
Could you explain how it is that you believe that would create more affordable housing?
I think Karen and Michael might be better to explain that.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So in order to build a dwelling here on Swallow Rise, someone would need to purchase a share. You have to have a share in order to build a dwelling. our shares have historically sold from anywhere, I think $2,000 for we have a low income share that I think is about $2,000. Shares have sold for $10,000 several times, and they've sold for as much as $24,000. So basically, someone who is looking to build a dwelling on one of these development envelopes could negotiate with the current shareholders, board of directors of Swallow Rise, and negotiate, how much they want to pay. Or one of the current shareholders, for instance, I have 2 shares. I could agree to sell a share for any amount, really. What we have had in mind as a vision is to make it affordable for people to be able to come and live here. And so that the price of the share isn't set, but that's been our goal. And as of this moment, there is 1 share that will in perpetuity stay at, I think it's approximately $2,000. So that would be not very much money for someone who wants to build a small house and have access to land, and then access to being able to farm here as well, or to do forestry.
Yeah, and that's and I think the density is also a factor there too. That's helpful to think
Yes.
about. And that's a good point, Karen, is that the property, so the conservation restriction is relatively not very restrictive. So there's rights to do agriculture on the property, and also do forestry. So it's very much kind of a working property.
Okay, that helps.
Okay, any further thoughts from the select board?
I think it sounds great, and I know it's been a long time coming, so I trust that it's everything that it's promised to be.
Well, I think it'll help serve as a model for future use of the conservation development bylaw, and perhaps a model for other towns as well in Massachusetts.
I'd say this has been a great experience for Mass Audubon, so definitely would look to use this as a model in the future if another opportunity comes up like this.
Nick was kind enough to share with me some language that you could use for your motion, so I could share that, and then Dan or Lori, you could make the motion.
Sure.
Dan Leahy, sorry, I don't know if Dan Leahy put his hand up if we want to hear from him first.
Sure. Dan?
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say that back in, I think 2020, the Open Space Committee did a site visit, and we wrote to the planning board and said that it was consistent with the town's open space plan. And I agree with Karen that this could be a model for further projects in the town of Wendell or other towns in the region. But I really want to speak personally about the project and know that it's not every day that you can do a conservation project like this where you protect the forest, the wetland, and the agricultural land and still have compact, affordable housing. It looks like they're going to protect over 1,500 feet of road frontage there on that scenic road. So, when you pass that wetland on your way to Wendell Depot, if you're going down to Wendell Depot, it's on the right-hand side. It's just extensive. And, you know, that view is going to stay that way forever. And I guess also what I want to say is this is the first project that's been approved as a conservation development in the town of Wendell. So that bylaw was passed over 10 years ago. And I just want to acknowledge that this is a momentous occasion. So the select board has a lot of pro forma signing of documents, but I just hope you feel that this is an important part of the conservation mix in the town of Wendell, right? We've got Wendell State Forest and it's managed one way. We've got watershed protection lands that are protected for the Quabbin. They're managed another way. We've got Mass Audubon lands that are protected as wildlands. And this is going to be more of a working landscape. And up to 13 families will be able to live there, engage with the land, conduct agriculture and forestry while preserving the important wildlife and natural features on this land. So I applaud the landowners' efforts. I applaud Mass Audubon for working with the landowners. And I just want to say that this has been hard won. And knowing some of the principles, I know that I think I'd be accurate in saying that like this is almost a lifelong dream to have this project come to fruition. And the principles in the past had already protected some land that was adjacent to Audubon. So at this site, there's going to be over 110 acres of protected open space. So it's a major accomplishment for the town. And I think it's going to be a win for everyone over time. So thank you.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh, good. Just one last thing, Dan, because I know that a month or so ago, you know, when the Mass Wildlife came in and bought that 14-acre piece, and there was talk that, you know, the downside of Mass Wildlife buying that piece was it was going to come off the tax rolls. And the beauty of this project is it's not going to come off the tax rolls. It's going to stay on the tax rolls. And that's important. That's an important part of the mix. And I want to acknowledge that for the town too.
Yeah, good. Gillian, did you have any thoughts?
No, but it's just on a personal note, it's been quite a process to watch happen and come to fruition.
Thanks. So I guess it wouldn't hurt to have a vote on this. What do you think, Laurie?
Yeah, the motion would be to approve and sign conservation restriction Wendell CR 16890 and its amendment Wendell CR 16A-1 from Swallow Rise Incorporated to the Massachusetts Audubon Society based on the public benefit of conserving the property.
Okay, I'll so move.
And I will second.
And I'll abstain.
Okey-doke. And any further discussion? Thanks to everyone for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to the
Great.
Swallows.
I want
All, do we need to do all in favor?
Oh,
Yes, we do, but this is part of the discussion before we vote.
Oh, that was still discussion. Okay, all right.
I just wanted to thank everyone who spent all the years doing this, the Idaweens and everybody else involved. Sounds like a great project and a great benefit to the Swallows.
I'd like to recognize Jeff Lacey, who had a major role in designing the bylaw that we used.
Yeah, thanks to you too, Jeff. I see you there.
Thank you. It's been a long slog, and this is a nice capstone to it tonight.
Good. Okey doke. So I think we're ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion as read by Glenn, say aye.
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 And I'll
Gillian
abstain.
is abstaining, so we have passed that motion.
Yay!
Yay. Very nice. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations, you guys. and Great work.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a bureaucratic question, comment. We've been trying to figure out how to get your notarized signatures on the agreement. And actually, Anna Weatherby suggested that if you are there in person at the town meeting on Saturday, she'd be happy to notarize your signatures. And perhaps you can make a motion to make plans to do that.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion. I think we can just do it. I'm happy to do it. I'm not sure Lori's going to necessarily be able to make it, but then we can make other arrangements for her to sign that. But we'll get it signed by the weekend.
Very good. Appreciate it.
Yep, appreciate
Thank
all your
you.
work, Michael and Karen and everybody else.
Yeah.
Jeff. Any further thoughts?
Oh, thank you. Have a good meeting.
Thanks.
We'll see you on
Thanks, Sam.
Saturday. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you, Glenn.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Okay, so I think the next item that we have here is Board of Assessors. And I did write a quick email this afternoon or earlier trying to clarify my feeling about it.
Here it is.
Okay.
I'm still considering it, and I might well be able to do this, but it's not a simple thing, and it's a serious step. So I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing here. And I haven't really even had a chance to talk to Martha at any length about the process and being an assessor and what she feels about this idea. So I'm thinking about it. I'd be happy to know what anybody else thinks. It did occur to me that maybe I'm not the most qualified person to do it, that maybe Gillian has more qualifications than I do to do this. But
I certainly understand the need. I don't think I could fit the job in, unfortunately.
Sure, I understand. Well, I might be able to do that, but I need to think about it a little more, talk to Martha. And well, what are your thoughts, you folks, about my doing this, just as to sort of step in as a placeholder so that Martha would be able to actually act, and so there would be a quorum, at least for the short term.
Have you discussed this with the RRG people?
No.
Oh, I have a little bit. Not about you particularly, but about the problem.
Okay.
And the down and dirty, you might say, about it is they just need somebody to take the course. In order to be the voting member and sign the papers that need to be signed, someone has to take the one-day online course. And that's all they have to do.
Okay, I can do that.
I asked them about what happens now. They said, that's what happens. We need somebody to take that course that makes you qualified to sign on the dotted line.
Well, is there the course seems to be broken up into many parts. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It could be. He told me it was about a one-day commitment. I don't know if that means it's all in one day or in several days, but.
Well, that might be a one-day commitment for somebody who's used to being an assessor, but maybe not for somebody who's just stepping into the role.
Let me see if I can find his email that he sent me about that. I can quote him.
Okay, well, in the meantime, we can go on to other stuff because this is going to be a discussion. But
Can I just ask quickly, if, are you stepping in sort of as a select board member who's fulfilling, filling in as an assessor? Or I'm just wondering about conflict of interest or that kind of thing, or ethics, if we might need to check on that. I know that in the absence of a board of assessors, maybe the select board would fill that role. But I don't know if one select board member can just be an assessor without worrying about some kind of.
Yeah, well,
conflict of
my feeling is that a select board member could be appointed to be an assessor because select board members have always been assessors, but we could check on it for sure. I don't think there's a conflict of interest.
Okay, that was my only.
Yeah, I don't think there's a conflict there of doing those two different jobs. But if there is a conflict, then it can probably be resolved by that declaration that people make saying I'm doing these two jobs and
Oh, right, yeah.
that's the way it is.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, Carolyn, hi.
Hi, Glenn, I think I put in the select board box, the MLG that references a select board member stepping in to be an assessor in the absence of an assessor. Do you remember seeing that?
I didn't see
Yes.
that.
Yeah, you did
And-
put it in the box and I scanned it and sent it to the select board members, so.
Oh, okay.
In their email.
Anyway, I think that addresses how the select board can be either the assessors or interim. And I just unfortunately do not have it here in front of me. But if you can reference that, it might give you a framework of how to hold that position, at least temporarily.
Okay. Somehow.
I have
missed-
what
missed that.
David Manzello said to me in our dialogue about what happens, what's the problem, what if we don't have a board? He says, the big problem is having only one Board of Assessor member. We need at least two who have taken course 101. It's online, a day's effort to get a tax rate.
Right.
The board's experience level is immaterial as IRRG guides the board on all matters and decisions. Just a willingness to take the course and attend meetings.
Okay. Well, I have a feeling that for me, it might be more than a day, but
Well, and
I'm,
whatever that means,
I'm-
that's his bottom line. It
Yeah,
says,
yeah,
we
I get
can't
it.
set the rate and do a recap, a hearing without
Yeah.
two board members to do that. And that's what he says is the minimal amount of time that needs to be taken.
okay, good. Well, I will take that all into review.
Oh, and in the meantime, too, I think we need to just continue to try to work on recruitment.
Yep, absolutely.
We are increasing the stipend at $3,500. If the town votes for it.
Yeah,
What's the
Okay,
next
well-
step for recruitment?
I'll look at all the documents and check out Division of Local Services Course 101 and let you know by the next meeting if I'm ready to be appointed.
What are the concrete next steps for recruiting and more planning, assessors?
Twisting arms.
Yeah, but whose arms?
I
Do you
think
have
we need to,
names?
should we say something at town meeting? One,
Sure.
Mm.
announce it at town meeting. Maybe even have a sign up page of the still open positions that we have at where people check in before they go into town meeting. And if they're interested, to put their name and contact information down, and we'll start there.
Yeah, that's all good. And I think that, people thinking of people that they know that might be good, that might be not doing something for the town right now, that might be vulnerable to a request. That's what I'm doing. Thinking of my friends, but
Mhm.
All of the above.
We did talk about having some kind of an event, like a job fair type event.
Not a bad idea.
But
Yeah, maybe in the fall. I mean, summer is probably not a great time for a job fair, right?
you may be right.
Don't know. But we can put it on the back burner for now, maybe.
Unless we get something together really quick before school ends. That's not happening, is it?
I think just sort of, if we can take any opportunity where we're going to be around groups of people, which is harder these days, but to get the
Mhm.
word out.
Yep. Okay, is that good for Board of Assessors? No other thoughts for
And
now?
I will send you, I just found the link to the information about the course. I'll email it to you.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I'll support you in your process of discovery.
I do too.
Thank you. Thank you. And Martha's being very supportive too. So
Oh, good.
maybe
Good.
this will work out. Okey doke. Well, the next item on this written agenda is Select Board Rules of Procedure. And I'm working on this. I'm looking at various other towns' rules for Select Board. But I haven't come up with anything concrete yet. So this is another one to postpone, I think. Unless somebody has some thoughts right now.
KDR.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, KDR. I was like, who is KDR? Okay.
It's a new term
That-
I've learned from.
That Katie.
All right. Town offices self-service station. I'm not quite sure what that is.
That's the idea Carolyn and I and others were kicking around of, because the town offices hours have been reduced so much since COVID, to perhaps have the entryway open 24/7 with forms and things that people may need to be able to come in and grab. I emailed Joe about it from a kind of fire safety perspective, and Phil about it from a kind of building code kind of perspective. Joe's concern was that we would have to get there's a alarm box there that's currently insecure. Anyone can just open it. So that would have to be locked in some way.
Mhm.
There is a lock on it, but it looks like it's been taped so that it would stay open. And then, yeah, Phil was, I think his concern was more just about people coming in, whether we wanted to have a video camera in there for security. But I don't remember other concerns that he had. So.
When Glenn and I chatted about it a little bit, I kind of felt like it's worth giving a try. If we end up running into problems, we lock the door again. But in terms of trying to provide people access to information, it seems like it's worth a try.
Yeah, I agree with that. Lori?
Is it, I'm just wondering if, how hard it would be to have it open during daylight hours or, normal work hours rather than 24/7, if we think that would prevent some of the risk.
Like
I'm
some-
totally fine trying it too, but just a thought. I know it just means somebody has to go up and lock and unlock even if nobody's there, so that might be too much.
Unless you wanted to install some kind of a fancy electronic or digital locking system that could be operated remotely or put on a schedule.
Well,
I say we try it first. The post office lobby is open.
Yeah.
It's to be managed okay.
right.
And
Yeah.
they had issues with it when they first did that, and then it stopped. So,
Oh,
yeah, it's weird.
okay. I would be into just trying it 24/7, see how it works.
So do we know exactly what needs to happen for that alarm box and who would do that? If there was any.
No, I
think-
can take a look at it. You know, I have a zillion different keys, so it could be one of them I already have, and it might just be a matter of finding it and putting it
Yeah.
in and turning it.
Right.
And then I think for Joe or to advise about who else needs to have access to that key. But that would be the next step on that.
Yeah, I know there are a lot of keys. I've got quite a few myself. But give it a try. I bet there's one there that fits.
Yeah.
And Glenn, I'm willing, and Carolyn, I'm willing to help get things organized if you want to try to figure out how to make it.
I think we need to contact all the departments and ask anybody who might have documents that are that need to be made available to the public, because when I can think of all kinds of things, like even the septic loan applications, and more than just your typical inspection services or those types of things, because we get these requests a lot. Just in the past couple of days, there's been headway made with how to get more word out to how to contact the assessors, because that's been, as you know, a little bit of ongoing conversation. And I've had an email exchange with Kelly, and she is supportive of the document that I generated that I want to have available at town meeting that I had sent to all of you. She said that was good information, asked me to put it up on the window at the office, which I did. But I think we need to have those types of things just there so people can at least go pick something up at their leisure, and they know who to call, how to get a hold of them, and get the website utilized more, and have more of these documents even available on the website. I understand not everybody has access to a computer, so therefore the vestibule's the way to go. But the easier we can make it on the the people who live here in Wendell, the better.
Yep,
Agreed.
agreed.
As well as, I think too, if information on the website is updated and current, then Glenn, when you are in the office, you can, if somebody's looking for a form that's not there, you can print it out for them and say, here it is, if they come asking.
Yeah, and I think it also intersects with the website committee's work to try to revamp the town website. I think there's an understanding that even when stuff is up there, it can be difficult to find.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a plan on that.
Great.
The self-service station. People will be happy to hear about it. Lori, I think you put this next one on, the Veterans Memorial.
Yeah. I talked with Harry and Deb about their plans to upgrade the Veterans Memorial, which we've talked about for several years and created a fund for. And they have said that the estimate they have gotten recently is within the budget of what is available to them. And they would like to move ahead. And I sent it to you. I don't know if you want me to tell you the details or if everybody got a chance to look at it. Basically, I think they just want us to approve. And I think, oh yeah, I guess we are the official keepers of that fund, aren't we?
Yep.
I spoke
So-
with Deb Lewis about it as well.
Oh, good.
And they are very willing to cover any overage that is, if the project isn't covered by that account. They're planning on covering it. And I was trying to look at the map. It sounds like it's going to be a much more prominent isn't quite the right word, but things are going to be made so it's going to be there. The stone base, flag base, things will be redone so that they'll be sitting in cement so that flagpoles and things are solid and not movable. And I know this is also a project of endearment for Debbie's dad. So something they really want to get done.
And Lori, was there a bottom line? Was there a price?
The estimate, which I wish now it added up somewhere. There's several different, do you have them added up total, Gillian?
Oh, actually, I don't know who they're going with.
They're going with Demers Landscaping.
With Demers?
Demers, yeah.
So that I don't see as being totaled.
Right, and they had two options, but they're going with the cheaper option. And so the main part of it is in the $5,000 range, and then they want to get a new flagpole and a few other and some planters, minor things that are in the $1,000 range. So it's about 6,000. I don't know if you want.
That's fine.
And one thing that Harry did say, which I don't know if we need to worry about with this, but he said he does want to take out the flagpole that's there and move, and he was hoping we could move it to the town garage and install it in the town garage so that we have another flag there. And they'll get a new flagpole for the Veterans Memorial. So that was just another thought that he was hoping could happen. And he just thought the highway department, if they were fine with it, would probably do that work, I think.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yep.
Do we have a budget for the flags? Or does that come through the veterans?
There is a budget for the flags, actually.
Mhm.
Right, Doug?
Yeah, there's budget for flags.
Yeah.
I
It's 500.
questioned it's related, but I don't know the answer to this. Is it, so there's a light over there that has electrical power, but my understanding is there's no outlet. I wonder if in the process of this, an outlet could be put in there so that someone could plug an extension cord in to put something that had needed power on the pavilion.
Well, Martha had lights lit up there this winter.
Isn't there an
Really?
outlet in the box on the common?
Yeah, on the common side, on the other side across the road, there's outlet boxes.
I
I
think
don't-
there's on both
You
Yeah.
sides.
think so?
Yeah,
Okay,
they're on both. Yeah,
maybe I just don't know where they are. Okay,
they're there.
that's good to know.
So is there a light that lights up the whole Veterans Memorial? I remember there's a solar light on the flag, but is there another big light on the actual memorial? I can't remember.
No, there's no light on the memorial. But there are outlets on the common, both sides, I think.
Okay. So were you thinking of the solar light, Doug? Is that what you were referring to? Or
Oh, no, I was thinking of just a big accessing an outlet over there.
oh, okay.
The last person I talked to about it didn't know one over there and I couldn't find one myself. So maybe Dan could show me where it is sometime. Or I'll poke around a little more thoroughly. Maybe I can find it. Okay.
Be happy to show you.
All
Well,
right.
I'll make a motion that we approve moving ahead and allowing them to redo the memorial.
I second it. Any discussion? Seeing none, we can vote. All in favor of approving this plan for the Veterans Memorial, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So we have unanimous approval on that. Thanks to everybody.
Lori, will you let them know it's a go or should
I
Glenn?
shall, yeah, I will do that.
Okay.
And now we come to that wonderful topic of personnel policies. And I see Carolyn's here, and I'm not sure why this is on the agenda, but maybe Carolyn or someone else knows.
You asked for it to be on the agenda at our last meeting. The select board did. I think it was the you have been interested in revising, I think in particular that some of the issues that arose this year around the sick leave time, not accruing until after the 3-month period.
Right.
So I guess my mind was going to, I mean, I think that sounds like there's interest in reviewing the personnel policies, but maybe not the entire manual, maybe just the ones related to that have come up as issues in the last year or so, or I don't know what others are thinking, but.
Well, mainly sick leave but also vacation time, I think, possibly.
We also had a question about whether we could access help through FERCog or somebody like that to help review and make sure that our policies are up to snuff with current employee or employee law. And not having gone through it before, but Carolyn, I know you mentioned that there's a committee.
Okay, in the personnel policy, there's a section, and I don't have it in front of me, so I can't, I think there's like 5 different departments that are, what do I say, have permanent positions, so to speak, on the personnel policy review committee. And so I guess what I might recommend is that after July 1st, I can email the people that are stated in that those categories. Like I know it's the library and the highway and the select board, and again, I don't remember who all else, but anyway, send an email out indicating that we would like to convene the Wendell Personnel Policy Review Committee and perhaps contact the FERCog, ask them what program they might have available to review or provide assistance and what the cost would be, so that I can bring that to the select board. And then possibly request convening this committee for a finite period of time, whether it be 2 months or 3 months or whatever, so people kind of have an idea of what the time commitment is going to be. And I found in the past that if we sort of put a time commitment on it, people are, number one, more willing to serve, and they're also more willing to get down to brass tacks and work on it and make decisions, and perhaps set that for September. Let everybody get past town meeting, get past vacations, and when their head might be back in the game. What do you think of that?
That sounds great.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Things are
Okay.
a good idea.
So I will do that. I will confer with Glenn, and we'll set something up and get it set to start meeting in, say, from September to November. We'll establish a meeting schedule and get people on board.
Beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks for doing it, Carolyn.
That work for you, Glenn?
One question is if there is going to be kind of a expert or consultant review of the policies, is it helpful to have that done before the group convenes so they have their recommendations in hand, or do you want the group to be able to guide the work of the consultant?
Well, I think first we should find out what the FERCog has to offer as far as a consultant and what the cost is going to be. And once we find that out and what the select board FinCom are willing to support, then it probably makes sense for them to review what we have in place and see if there's any, obvious red flags that they say, oh, you need to address this. But if they don't see any obvious red flags, then I really feel that it's Wendell's personnel policy, and it's what, we feel is right and want for our town.
Yeah.
And to me, their guidance is more that, yes, you are in keeping with industry standard and what you're doing is legal, so to speak.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's great.
Then I'll talk to you after July 1st.
Really? Yeah, good.
Thanks, Carolyn. Great idea.
Carolyn, the copy I have was revised May 12th, 2010. Is that the last one?
Oh, you are so behind the times.
Yeah.
No, the most recent version was revised January 5th, I believe, of 2022.
Oh, okay, but the committee didn't do that. No, I have is the last one the committee did.
No, the
Okay.
committee's one was in 2019.
Was it? Gee,
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
So
All
I
right.
will do
Well,
the
mine's
latest
really
version,
old.
and it shows the revision dates on it.
Okay,
And if
I
there
don't
was
remember.
a revision since 2019, it'll state that it was either clerical or coordinator, it'll state what the obvious revision was. But I will forward you what the most current version is.
my computer is as bad as my brain. Okay.
Okey-doke. Any other thoughts on personnel policy? Thanks for doing all that, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Annual town meeting,
Yeah, we're gonna have one.
pretty soon.
Did you see my note about Article 9?
Pass over Article 9. Okay.
Pass
I'll
over
update-
Article 9, please.
We'll update the version with the motions to have a motion to pass over or whatever needs to happen
Yeah,
there.
it'll be fine. Just if something happens to me, don't forget to pass over Article 9.
Okay. Anything else on the annual?
I mean, it's worth a quick question. If they saw my note about the warrant article, does anybody remember? So that the warrant number, so the warrant number that I've been doing the last few years has been expanded by like $5,000 so that someone could make an amendment to increase something if the meeting chose to do so, and also in case the finance committee found an error
Yeah.
between the time the warrant went out and the time that the budget was completed, which actually
Yeah.
happened this year. A
Yeah,
small
so the
one,
motion is for a number less than the posted amount.
it would be right. Yeah. So what do we generally make the motion the number we expect to be passed?
Sure.
And then amend it as per necessary. Yeah, okay, so that
And
would
you
be a
can
different
amend
number.
it up to the posted amount.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so it would be that number I said, whatever, the number that it says, the total of Article 4 in the recommended column would be the number that we would want to make the original motion for. And then it
Okay.
could be amended after that if necessary.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
sure.
I might be calling you, Doug. I'm not sure I'm following 100%, but I
Oh,
know you know what
I
you're
think
talking
Dan
about,
was
so
right.
we'll get it.
In the
We'll get it
budget
done.
sheet, it says what the Article 4 total is for the recommended in that column. That would be the number. So we'll know that day
Okay.
to do that.
So I wanted to let you all know what Barbara has told me to do, which is test on Friday. And if I'm positive, I shouldn't go. And if I have any symptoms, I shouldn't go.
Oh,
Mm,
And
Lord.
I'm thinking, I almost don't know if I want to go anyway, just because I'm sitting up there with you guys. For that long. But anyway, at the very least, I wasn't quite positive if the chair was always supposed to be the one reading the motions.
Yeah,
But I
that's the way we've been doing it, but
I would say that,
You're
even
up.
if, whether or not I'm there, I might, if you're willing, Dan,
Sure.
it might be better for you to read the motion so I can
Yeah.
keep totally masked and not open my mouth all the time.
And take a little rest, maybe.
And rest.
Mhm.
Good
It's
job.
very important.
Right,
Yeah, I'm happy to do that, Lori, and I hope you get well soon.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'll keep you guys posted on that.
okay.
And if anyone doesn't want me to go, just because they don't want me to go, because they want to feel safer, then feel free to let me know.
Okay.
And my only other thought is figuring out I think we can do code red, and I don't think a listserv announcement has gone out either, right?
No, I was gonna ask about that tonight. Did you see what I put out, that I posted something? Oh, well, Glenn, you put a summary, I think, on the website.
Yeah, we saw your
Yeah.
posters. They were great.
I
Uh-huh.
could take that same language and post it to the Wendell Town folk if you want.
Yeah, are you able to do that tonight? Or I could do it tonight, okay. That would be great, and then, do you want me to do the code red? Tonight, or I won't send it out tonight, but I could send it out tomorrow.
I haven't done it before, so I don't know if you're
Oh, no,
asking
I
if
was saying I would do it.
Oh,
I just didn't know
yeah.
if I was just asking for consensus in terms of whether you'd like me to send out a message through the Wendell alert system.
Yes,
Okay,
that was one of our reasons, right?
it was, yes. I'm still hesitant to do it on my own. Like,
Right,
when Bill has asked me to send something out, I just go do it, but it's, I guess I still like to.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
good to have a little consensus, and the left hand knows what the other hand's doing.
Yeah,
For
Yeah.
what it's worth, I think you should send it out more than once.
well, I could send it out tomorrow, and then I could send it out Saturday morning.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I agree, but
I don't know
everybody
if,
says not to overuse it.
yeah.
I know, but this is the annual town meeting.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
It is a budget of $3.5 million.
Yeah.
but it's
It
not,
is
it's,
something that people say they care about and then they don't show up.
well,
Well,
some
the
people
other thing,
don't,
oh, go ahead, Glenn.
well, some people don't say they care about it. I mean, some people, their relationship with government is they just want it to get done and, so they don't want to code red announcements about a town meeting. They're just not going to be there,
Well, maybe not, but at least they have the opportunity to come and complain about the tax rate.
And I think one announcement's probably, that's my opinion, one announcement's probably sufficient for
I
that.
really strongly think there should be two.
What if, how about a compromise is that there's a setting for if it is not received, like if it rings and rings and rings and doesn't get picked up, or if it gets a busy signal and it can't leave a message, it will ring back those people.
Huh.
So how about if I don't usually set that up, but how about if I set it up so that it does that? So it will recall people if it doesn't reach them.
That sounds like a good compromise to me.
Okay,
Doug,
okay.
Doug, I would be wary about sending out too many of these things because
Oh, yeah.
because people, if they get used to seeing them for things like meetings, they're not going to read them for an emergency.
Yep, I agree. But this only happens once a year.
I think the
I know.
sign out on the, in the center is gonna be huge. Everybody has to drive through the center sometime. So I think that's the best way, honestly, to
Yeah, we
communicate.
got the sign, we
Okay.
got flyers, we got the website, we got emails going out, we've got a code red. And then, yeah, that's great that it can call people back who don't pick up.
I think it was in the newspaper too.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
lot.
Okay.
That's a lot of
Hopefully so.
publicity. It's
Yeah.
way more than we usually have. So I think-
That's true. So
Dominic called me today for, to ask me about the town meeting.
Oh, good. Did he call anyone else? Because he tried me and I almost was gonna do it, and then I decided I didn't have the brain power for it. So I hope he got enough of his questions answered.
he probably got all he needed from Glenn, I imagine.
Okay, good.
I will also put it on Nextdoor, Wendell, and on my
good
personal
idea.
Facebook
Yeah,
page.
okay. That's good.
So if you're friends with me on Facebook, you could share it. Your Wendell friends will see it.
Mhm. Yeah, that's good. That is more than we usually do. That's true.
It is much more.
Because we
so.
got a lot of complaints that they didn't know. I mean,
Yeah, they're not
think
going to be able to
very
complain that
common.
much this time.
We're thinking like 100 copies of stuff. Is that about right?
Well, I did 100 of the handout and 120 of the smaller little one pager.
That's more than enough.
Probably.
My guess.
Sadly,
Yeah. How many registered voters do we have? 400?
more.
500?
We had 560, I think, the last presidential election, didn't we?
Really?
Something like that. I kind of remember that number sticks in my head, but
Yeah. And probably not 100 for the annual, but we'll see.
yeah,
Maybe it's getting the word out, Will.
Yeah,
maybe.
maybe.
I get a lot of comments about people that can't pay their taxes, and I can't do much about it, but I'd be happy to explain to them why.
Yeah. Or
saw-
come to the meeting and vote it down.
You can do it. Yep.
I saw an ad up at the general store. There's someone who brings ponies to parties. So, it's something we could consider for future meetings.
I'm allergic. No
Take
thanks.
that, ride that horse, take that horse you rode in on, and something like that. What's that cliche? You and the
Do
horse
we-
you rode in on.
Do we want to double check with Katie that she's all set, or if they need any help?
Katie, yeah, I think Katie's doing well. She emailed me today the consent agenda motions, and I went out and found her in the garden because I had a question with her. So I let her know I was available if she needed anything. So
You
I
need.
think we're in
you
good
wanna
shape.
Check in.
And she's probably
Oh,
right
she's
there.
right
with
there.
Right,
Oh, right, I
just-
forgot.
Oh,
Hi, Katie.
There she is. Yeah. Yeah.
The invisible moderator.
Katie.
What time should we show up to help with chairs?
No, you,
It's open. It's
9 o'clock.
Okay.
Anything else, Katie, that you might need?
tomorrow or Friday, I guess we're going to lay it out the way we've been doing.
Josh and I were going to do that.
Okay.
Just
Thank you.
mark the ground and we've got some caution tape.
Well, that's
Caution,
great.
Democracy in action.
Thank
The
you.
weather looks good for Saturday, but not necessarily Friday.
Yeah,
Warn you.
Mm,
Afraid it could be wet.
that's all right.
mm.
We can come
Okay.
close.
Any other thoughts about the annual?
So, sorry, Glenn, are you up for doing the listserv announcement? Or do you want me to do that?
Yeah, no, I'm going to do that.
Okay,
tonight.
awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Glenn. I don't know if we have to go into executive session for this, but Citizen of the Year, anything, comments on that?
Oh,
I think maybe I know the way we've done it, from what I can remember, is we definitely can throw out any nominations maybe, or, say nominations, or Glenn might have a list of old nominations somewhere we could find, or one of us could find. And so maybe we should not worry about finishing this tonight, but
Yeah,
see how many of us can find old nominations or come up with new nominations, and then we can have a list together for the next time. And then what we've done, I think, is submit votes to Glenn behind the scenes, so it's
yeah.
not out in the open.
I
Yeah.
found the old list from Nancy. I will forward to all of you. Just
People
as a
that-
place to start.
People that were considered that didn't get it.
People who have
Right.
received it
People have
Yeah.
received it, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
and nominations
right.
over the past few years, and we'll have to add on the last
Yep.
year.
And we can each add to the nominations pool in email and have a good list by the next time we get together.
No, actually, have we sent something out like to the lister asking for nominations? I feel like we get them every now and then, but I'm not sure we like from the general public, if we
Good
solicit
idea.
them.
Good idea.
Yep, I received, somebody came up to me and gave me a name. So,
And we'll put that on the agenda for next time.
So, sorry, Glenn, or who would like to do the solicitation on the listserv? I could do it if nobody else wants to. I'll do it.
thank you.
Broadband closeout
Just write something
certification.
up, Lori, and send it to me. Then I could forward it to the list and then people could respond just to me, like, it might be better if it came from my email address.
Okay,
Yeah, that sounds good. Broadband closeout certification.
yes, this is just the final forms, documents that we need to sign to close everything out and get the last bit of our money. And I just wanted to just make sure the select board had seen the main certification document before it's signed and goes back. It just needs my signature as the select board chair.
Then we should probably vote on that.
Okay.
May as well.
I don't know if anybody actually looked at it.
I looked at it. Looks
I
okay.
looked at it. It is not something my brain understands real well in terms of all the numbers. I did look at it, but
And Ray, of course, has looked at it and talked about it at length with Bill Ennin and says we should sign.
Yeah,
I trust Ray's.
absolutely. So I move we sign it and approve that.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any discussion? I guess we don't discuss it after we vote, do we? So that's unanimous. We approving the broadband closeout certification. And then miraculously, we're down to topics not reasonably anticipated.
I did have one.
Gillian?
But just to sort of follow up, the review of the deed for, I want to say it appropriately. It's been sort of dragging on for a while, for the Di Donato's for the piece of land by the dam.
Yeah,
Still hasn't been finalized. Can we give Glenn the go-ahead to contact
David Dineski.
David Dineski and just really waiting on the title search. And spoke briefly with Ray and he said all the information has been sent to them
Yeah.
from his attorney. So hopefully David Dineski can get on that and get it wrapped
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, sometimes it just helps to remind him that a document should be coming. So, and that's one of those quick phone calls, Glenn.
Sure. Yep, I'll keep it very brief.
I think you're really good at that. So thank you.
Well, he's a good person, so he's not trying to drag out the phone call, so that helps a lot.
No. Lori, did you have any other items?
Not that I can think of right now.
Okay, well, if they pop into your head, just send us an email.
Okay.
And thanks for struggling to make it to this meeting. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
I'm definitely feeling better, so
I hope we
That's
feel better
great.
soon.
thank
Great.
you.
Hopefully you'll wake up in the morning and
Yes. And not wake up in the middle of the night,
yeah,
is what happens much too often.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
And Doug, thanks for all your work in the finance committee, getting the
Yeah.
budget together. And it sounds like you have some good new committee members.
Oh, we do. We have a full
Okay.
committee. It's terrific.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's
that's
great.
great to hear.
Yeah. It's a
Oh,
good
you know
committee.
what? Sorry, I will throw one other thing out there because you reminded me of it. Doug is still planning to leave us. Is that correct?
No, so yes and no. I'm willing to be the finance coordinator for one more year.
Oh, okay. That was my question.
Right. As a transition.
I'm working really hard with the FinCom to have somebody else be chair, and I think we are getting close to having that happen. So if I'm not the chair, then I think I'll be able to deal with it. It's been especially hard because without live meetings for most of the year, I just wound up doing everything myself. And frankly, the problem with doing it myself is not so much that it's extra work. The problem is I wind up making decisions without a lot of input from other people, and that just makes it harder. It's more stressful, and I make mistakes sometimes. And so
Right. There's a reason why there's committees, right?
yeah, exactly. Right. So I think it'll be better. Thank goodness for Carolyn, and Erin has been terrific. She gets back to me quickly. She answers questions and helps strategize, and even when she's not here. We'll have to look at what we're going to do about the computer she uses, but it's not urgent. That's one thing we got to look at in the next couple months. We'll see. And some other things, if the committee has some issues that we've agreed we want to bring to the select board that are process questions and things that involve other towns, and we'll bring that up after town meeting and go start some discussions about some other things. So that can wait. That and the broadband, the networking issue. We may have to discuss that by email to decide how to decide. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I'd like to just echo Doug's appreciations for Erin. She's been really wonderful for me to work with. Of course, I have a lot of questions as a new coordinator, and she's just a pleasure to work with.
Great. And Doug, yes, thanks for doing all that. I mean, having been on the FinCom for 17 years, I know putting together the budget is a challenge. And when I was on, it was a lot less challenging than it is now. So
it was a weird year.
Yeah, and I agree 100% that the lack of in-person meetings, although it doesn't seem on the surface to be a major disruption, it is a major disruption for me. I really feel like I'm losing a lot by not being able to see people, and the back and forth is just quite different.
It's different.
Yeah,
it's hard, and we're all working under that difficulty.
I did just want to make a note, and it could be a topic for a further discussion at some point, but I was speaking with a select board member from Leverett, and we were just talking about town things and talking about our fire chief leaving. And they would be interested in just having a exploratory conversation.
Great. That's good.
Which town is that, Gillian?
Leverett.
Well, that would be combined police and fire.
As a possibility. I mean, yeah, it's
something to talk about for sure.
Absolutely.
They have a new chief.
Gillian had told me about this, and the Public Safety Committee has also obviously been talking about these kinds of things. So I was going to reach out to the Leverett Select Board. Unless somebody else really wants to. I
It
will
seems like
do that.
with your work with that committee, it makes sense.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any further thoughts?
See you Saturday morning. And Lori
Saturday
will miss
morning.
you if you can't come. Okay.
You're on mute, Lori, but
I just did okay. I will miss you guys too, but maybe I'll be there.
Yeah.
All right. Get well soon.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Night, everybody. Adjourning at 8:34.